Well, chumrades, I've got this one today. This is a nice tier list again, seeing as it was so appreciated last time. And this time we're talking about the world's greatest cuisine. That's right, British food. Some people seem to say that we have no taste whatsoever, but those sorts of people are probably wrong, and so to speak. They get up to unscrupulous things on the weekend, like looking at ladies' ankles or, touching children, all that business. So, anyway, let's go on. What do we have first? So, the old bacon sandwich. Can't go wrong. Nice thick cut bacon. None of that bloody thin cut nonsense. None of that, streaky bacon, unless you're going to have it with a dish later on that has a rude name. However, a bacon sandwich must be thick cut bacon, nice bread, none of that supermarket nonsense. Make it yourself. All you need is flour, yeast, and and some salt, bit of caster sugar or brown sugar or whatnot, and there you are. So next, bangers and mash, an absolute staple British dish, perfect for an evening. Nice pork sausages. Good Maris Piper, Golden Yukon, good sort of potato. You want something hearty. Rub it in the Irish, who fail to grow their potatoes on a regular basis. Okay, I won't laugh too much about that. That was a horrific event, but, if you starve to death on an island surrounded by fish, you've only done it to yourself. Right, Beef Wellington, named after a lovely place. And, the Iron Duke probably loved these. Probably not, they weren't invented. Notoriously hard to cook, but delicious to have. So, we'll put it up there. S tier, a staple of the full English, blood, etc. All the meaty bits thrown in together for a lovely pudding, and tastes delicious, if you ask me. Anyone who disagrees is probably a feckless coward, but we shan't talk about that, A disclaimer, I will not judge you for your food taste, unless you have terrible food taste. For example, being French. Anyway, Bubble and Squeak. I've not actually tried this one, but it sounds like a British dish. So, I'm allowed to be biased. Cauliflower cheese. Absolute staple of a sort of afternoon dinner. You need to have it. Delicious. Good for vegetarians, I think, because it doesn't actually use cheese. It might do. I could be incredibly wrong about that, but delicious all the same. So, go for it. Chicken tikka masala. Now, I'm in a difficult situation. Although it was invented in England, curry as a dish was made for, the purpose of covering up rotten meat and rotten flesh. And, just on that basis, not so good. So we'll put that in G tier, I think. Cottage pie, absolute staple. It's a... no, shepherd's pie is the one that uses lamb. This uses beef mince, as I remember. Lucky I was paying attention to my wife cooking, or I'd be in very, very big trouble there. But, nice potato on top, cook it for an hour or so. Comes out nice, crispy, and absolutely delicious. Crumpets! If I need to explain, you've possibly come to the wrong channel, or have terrible, terrible taste. This word that I'm probably not allowed to say under YouTube terms of service, however, it was a staple dish beforehand. Essentially, it was a meatball of, beef mince, etc., wrapped in bacon. Sort of a precursor to pigs in blankets, if you will, although that's pork. Personally, I love them, despite how, smelly they are. And no, again, I'm talking about the dish, not the derogatory term for the homosexuals. Right, fish and chips. Straight into S tier. Need I explain, and you're possibly a traitor. Full English breakfast needs no introduction. Bacon, beans. What's all this business with people disliking beans anyway? I hear British. These British eating bloody beans on toast. One, the Yanks have no right to talk when they put bloody things like peanut butter and jelly on bread. They don't even toast it either. Outrageous. Why even have the bloody, the chemical-rich bread with the bloody chemical-rich jelly and chemical-rich peanut butter? I shan't have it from people who bloody put salmon in dishwasher. Look it up as well. It's real, I assure you. Dishwasher salmon is a staple American dish. No one will tell me otherwise. So yes, beans. Delicious. Roast tomato, of course. Sausages, without saying. Mushrooms. Mwah. Fried egg, and toast and or fried bread if you like. Either way, fantastic way to start the day. Though it might be a myth that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, it is to me! Right, haggis. Now, I'm in two minds about this, because I like it, however, it's Scottish. Oh, Nicholas Sturgeon's out, why not? Straight into S tier. There you are, my jock brethren. Good on you. Right. Lancashire hot pot. Ooh, absolutely. And quite a delicacy. I'd look it up if I were you. But, mwah, absolutely. Ah, jellied eels. Now, here's an absolute staple British classic. We used to have pale ale and jellied eels or eel pie in the pubs all the time. It used to be a delicacy, but for some reason people are rather squeamish. There might be something to do with the awful state of British rivers nowadays and those bloody, signal crayfish killing everything. But, we export more bloody eel to the Netherlands. They eat the stuff, but, we don't for some reason. We've been far too Americanised, but, what do the Americans know about good food? Ah, yes, kippers, absolutely. Though I'd stay away from seafood. Where are you? Because, seafood is disregard that for fish and chips. However, seafood is not so good for you anymore. Labour bread, immediately here. I don't care what you say. Liver and onion. Oh, now organ meat. Full of nutrition, absolutely brilliant. You need to have it at least once a day. An onion is for all of you chaps who are into that sort of pantry politics, culture war nonsense. It's the opposite of soy. But, if you're not into that, it's a good testosterone booster, and generally it tastes delicious. And if you disagree, you touch children professionally. Right, Cornish pasty. Now, this I got a lot of trouble on Twitter, because I was right, and everyone else, decided that they wanted to deny facts. The Cornish pasty is essentially the more superior version to the burrito or the taco. They are just, vain rip-offs of this marvellous, delectable dish. Miners took this into the mines with them. Well, not the Cornish pasty, they had the tin miners pasty. But this was designed for hard-working men, toiling away in the underground, not knowing if the knockers would knock down their walls. They had to appease the spirits and battle with grit and determination. And at the end of the day, they needed their beef skillet or whatever it was, in their hand, and to eat it. They needed a man's food for manly men who, often died of black lung. But ignoring that business, the Cornish pasty, superior dish, one of my favourite dishes. Right, pie and mash. Let's go with here. Yes, in S tier, because it's a superior dish to literally anything else you can name. Oh, ploughman's lunch. Absolutely. You've got all the nutrients in there that you need. Meat, bread, and a bit of rabbit food. Ignore the rabbit food, but everything else. You've got the cheese, you've got the meat, you've got the bread. Absolutely delicious. Pork pie. A pie with pork in it. How could you not put it in S tier? Absolutely delicious, full of protein and all that goodness that you need to power on through the day as you toil the fields, work the mines, or otherwise, do a labour-intensive job. Sunday roast. Absolutely. S tier. A Sunday roast is, just full of all the things you need. I'm not a fan of gravy myself. That might be heresy to some of you. However, it's my video, and I'm correct. So, bugger off. No, Sunday roast full of, you can have beef, you can have chicken, whatever takes your fancy. A few Yorkshire pudding, some peas, some potatoes, of course, roasted up with goose fat, because, we roll like that, as the kids might say. It's a natural way to do it. Oh, the Scotch egg. Now, I'm going to be a bit controversial. I'm not actually much of a fan, so, mind you, yes, I think they smell quite badly, but there you are. Yes, well, actually, no, that's unfair. We'll put her to C tier. You're not my favourite, but you're an adequate food. So much so, you're sold in nearly every service station or high-end establishment such as that. Right, shepherd's pie, like cottage pie, only instead of beef, you have lamb. So straight up there, all I've said about any sort of pie of that that particular variety or cultivar, you know, there you are. It's already been said. But imagine that with lamb instead. Delicious. Right, shall we get on with it? Steak and kidney pie. Immediately, a pub classic. Delicious, full of all the good nutrients you need, with that lovely, lovely crust. You know, the thing that holds it all together, that ties it in. You know, the gravy and the lard melting in there gives you that sort of dry texture and lovely taste if made correctly on the way down. Right, steak and kidney pudding, absolute. You know, you can't go wrong with that. Anyone who tells you can is a liar, or French, or a French liar, or American, actually. And as we've discussed throughout this video thus far, the Americans don't know how, you know, what good taste is. Otherwise, they wouldn't have, you know, separated and gone for the Queen. But what do I know? Toad in the hole, delicious. You know, like a pie. It's got your pork sausages. You know, don't buy from the supermarkets. Supermarkets are, you know, they're an absolute affront to all things holy and all things good in the world. But buy it from the butchers. You know, make yourself a nice pastry. Put the sausages in, and you've got yourself a delicious meal. You know, you've got that pork contrasting with the flavour of the pastry, and you can't go wrong with it. Bloody, you know, the Americans have no idea what they're missing out on with our high class cuisine. So, Welsh rarebit. Now, I've only tasted this once. You know, I can't really impart much, but it was delicious, so it immediately goes into S tier. And of course, the mighty and venerable Yorkshire pudding, the staple of every Sunday roast, the absolute treat at the end of the week. You know, after you've been to church and relax with your family, that's what you have to look forward to. You can do what you like with it, put gravy in it, eat it with any of the pork, you know, anything of that nature. Absolutely delicious. You cannot go wrong with it. Yes, I'd go as far to say as they're one of the most superior things you can find on your Sunday roast, other than the meat, of course, but I have a bit of a bias. Well, that concludes my list of British food. As you can see, basically all British food is S tier, with the exception of Scotch egg, which, you know, I've been generous and put it in C because a lot of people like it. Not me. It's an adequate meal. And chicken tikka masala, which this is in no way influenced. Well, that's wrong. This is in some ways influenced by jingoism, but I'm just not a fan of that sort of thing, really. You know, if you're using spice to cover up rotten meat, then you know, clearly something's gone wrong. But yes, as you can see, pretty much all British food is S tier. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Anyway, on that note, I'll leave you to it. I hope this inspires you to, you know, pursue some British cuisine and, you know, and find out what you're missing out on. Because let me assure you, especially if you're a Yank viewer watching this who, you know, your taste buds have been absolutely destroyed by corn flour and corn syrup and, you know, all the chlorine and all of that nonsense. You know, if you decide to wake up and have some real food, I'd certainly try with this, personally, but, yeah. Disclaimer, I do have my biases. Anyway, cheerio, gentlemen, and I'll catch you later. And ladies, of course. Cheerio!